Okay, so today I'll be performing the first part of the assessment ID 3 rational functions, identifying characteristics and sketching the graph. So the problem that I was given was 4x plus 8 over 7x minus 14. So the four things that I must be figuring out today is the horizontal asymptote, vertical asymptote, and the x-intercept, and then the y-intercept. So question 1 asks, what is a horizontal asymptote of the given functions? Okay, so a horizontal asymptote is an imaginary line, but we actually draw it on the graph, but in hindsight, it's an imaginary line that guides our graph or our line in the graph. And it goes either above or below the x-axis depending on the function you're given. So how do you find it? So in order to find the x-axis, we're going to be looking at our m and n, or our cases. So in this problem, we'll be looking at 4x and 7x, which is our m and our n. So the top 4x is our m, and our bottom and the 7x is our n. So in order to figure out the cases, we must see if both of these are the same. If both of these have the same value. So as we know, 4x and 7x have the same degree, which is 1, because these aren't squared or anything. So 4x and 7x are the same. So we can use case 2, which is a over b, which is 4x over 7x. So our horizontal asymptote will be 4x and 4 over 7. Like that. Case 2, sorry, my pen is a little bit, that's supposed to be case 2, and then a over b, which is 4x 7, just 4 over 7. So the second part of the problem asks us vertical asymptotes. What is a vertical asymptote, and why doesn't the curve touch it? So the vertical asymptote is the same thing as the horizontal asymptote, except it's going along with the y-axis, and it again is an imaginary line. So the reason that the line does not touch the vertical asymptote is because there's always be a point that's closer to it. So it'll never touch it. It will just guide the line. However, the line can touch the horizontal asymptote because the point will always be either on it or right next to it. But there will not be a point that is closest. So how do we find it? So in order to find it, we must make the denominator of our function equal to 0, which is 7x minus 14. My pen is not working right now. It's not being friendly. So in order to do this, we must set this equation to 0. And we do this by, I'm going to just grab another pen real quick. 7x minus 14 equal to 0. So what we do is we divide 7 from both sides. And then we are left with 14 over 7, which is simplified to 2. So our vertical asymptote is 2. So how do we find the x-intercept? That's the third problem. Using your notes, what is the definition of x-intercept? An x-intercept is a part of the graph where the point or the line goes through the x-axis of the graph. So let's say if my point is on the x-axis and the line goes through that point, that is one of our x-intercepts. So any point that goes through the x-axis is our x-intercept. How do you find the x-intercept? So in order to find the x-intercept, we must make the numerator of our equation equal to 0, which is 4x plus 8. So 4x plus 8, we equal that to 0, divide by 4. We are left with 8 over 4. Okay, so sorry, I just ran out of storage, so my video paused. But right now we're finding out the x-intercept. So now we're making the numerator of our problem. So 4x plus 8 equal to 0. So by doing this, we set it to 0 and we divide by 4 on both sides, and we are left with 8 over 4, which is well, it's actually negative 8 because sorry, it's not negative 8. It is negative 8, and then we are left with negative 8 over 4. Which is negative 2. So that is our x-intercept is negative 2. Then we're finding out the y-intercept. So the y-intercept, we'll be doing the same thing. However, we'll be doing that by changing the x's in our problem to 0. we need to make the x's equal to 0. So 4x plus 8 and then 7x plus 8. 7x minus 14. We have to change the x's into 0. So we just go 4 parentheses 0 plus 8 over 7 parentheses 0 minus 14. And then one of the problem was oh, and also I didn't answer one of the questions. How could you rewrite the problem for the horizontal asymptote? So just to make the horizontal asymptote 0, we would have to use case 3. So meaning that one of our either case 1 or 3. But sorry, that slipped from my mind. But 7x would have to have a greater degree than 4x. So it would have to be 7x squared. That would make the horizontal asymptote automatically 0. So y-intercept, how do you find the y-intercept? We just did that, and now we're calculating it right now. So we are left by doing 4x. So the numerator problem is equals to 12. Sorry, not 12. So 4, and that's just 12. Yes, so the top is 12 and the bottom is 21, I believe, because 7 times 0 minus 14. No, that is not 4. Sorry, this is actually... It's 14. So the top is actually 8 because 4 times 0 is 8. Yes. Okay, so the bottom is 14 because we're left with 14. 8 over 14, which is simplified to negative 4 over 7 because it's negative 14. Sorry, it's 8 over negative 14. So that's the y-intercept of our problem. Negative 4 over 7. And then, yes, so this is how you figure out the horizontal asymptote, vertical asymptote, x-intercept, and the y-intercept. Thank you. Also, sorry, I forgot to do the definition of the y-intercept. A y-intercept is the same thing as the x-intercept. However, the point has to go through the y-axis, not the x-axis. So when the line goes through the y-axis, that is one of our y-intercepts.